Well, hello and welcome back to this episode of the Law of Relevancy podcast. My name is Cord Owen and I'm your host. And I'm also the CEO of Bake More Pies, a full service advertising and marketing agency here in Tampa Bay. Today we have Thomas Clawson and Andrew Cho from Podium. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Andrew.
Hello. Thanks so much for having us. We're incredibly excited to be here.
Thank you, Cord.
Absolutely, Andrew. So anyhow, Podium is the leading tool when it comes to messaging, communications, review generation. And they're also an emerging, very powerful force in the mobile payments space. And Podium is really the gold standard. Full transparency. This episode is not sponsored by Podium, but we do, however, partner with Podium. We love using them. We love partnering with gold standards. And so that's why we like having them on our show here, is because when you work with someone who's the true leader in a space, it's nice to understand what are those keys to success and where do they see the industry going. So without further ado, Thomas, Andrew, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Yeah, great. I'll start. Andrew's got some more exciting things to say than me, but I do the partner marketing here at Podium. So I'm a marketing manager. Worked a lot with our manufacturing relationships in the automotive and HVAC space, and now am incredibly interested in helping agencies and marketers all across the world understand the value of texting, the power of mobile payments, and decide to work with Podium.
That's awesome, Thomas. Andrew, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes, my name is Andrew Cho. I've been at Podium for about 3 years now on the partnership side. So my primary focus is working with bringing in new partners, specifically a lot of advertising agencies and consultants to kind of bring, show them what Podium can do for their clients and what we're doing in the industries that they're focused on, of helping businesses power communication through Podium. And that's hopefully we can shed a little bit more light on how we're doing that today.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Andrew. Well, as mentioned before, one of the things we like to talk about here on the Law of Relevancy is, what's happening now in the industry. We try to share advice and things that we're up to help, our peers, sometimes even our competitors, understand, how everybody can be better. Podium is really the leader, in my opinion, because of their understanding of the power of text messaging and the consolidation of that communication channel. It can be extremely fragmented, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, great example. I had a friend recently try to purchase a vehicle, and right now new car sales are hard to come by. So you had a lot of people, there's a lot of conversations going on. He had 7 text messages from the business, different numbers, 7 different phone numbers reach out to him. And so just one example where, I mean, if I'm trying to get something done, I'd prefer to have 1, maybe 2 if I have to.
Yeah, well, there's some really interesting figures out there. Text as a channel. I remember when email was brand new, I would read every single email I got. Now I get hundreds and hundreds of emails. Where are we at with the text world in terms of the saturation and the ability to actually reach somebody through a text message?
Yeah, great question. And I can kind of give some lights on some statistics there. And then if there's any extra insight, maybe Andrew can hop in. But text is still a phenomenal communication channel, and largely because it's really respected and really private. So still a 98% is still the average open rate on text message.
Wow.
So that's much different than email, and a business needs to have permission. There needs to be an opt-in. You can't just, buy a list from somewhere and start texting it. That will get you in serious trouble. But 95% of texts are open within 3 minutes. So once there's that consent given, hey, we can have a conversation via text message, phenomenal place to do business. And one thing that I think is super interesting is it's a 10x higher coupon redemption through text than other types of coupons, including email and direct mail. So it's a really effective way to reach someone and offer your services and offer maybe a deal on top of it.
Well, it sounds like maybe the most effective way to reach somebody. 98% open rate. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I rarely delete a message, but I'll read everything. You see it, you open it. Whereas, as you said, email, right? A lot of times I click unread, skim maybe some subject lines, and send them to the trash. So
Yeah, I hear you. So one of the things that, that I really like about the platform is that, there's multiple different ways that people are going to communicate with a business, right? So it's pretty normal for you to try to message a business, especially if you have like a customer service issue or whatnot, where you might send them a message through their Facebook chat or Instagram chat, or maybe chat with them or send them an email through their support or on their website or whatnot. One of the things that I thought was really powerful about the platform is that you can consolidate all of those channels into one inbox that makes it really simple to respond back to somebody. And then not only that, but you can pass that conversation around to any number of people within your organization. You're not really limited by the number of people in your organization that can be connected to it. It's not like having a phone system where you're only limited to number of phones and number of lines and things like that. When you connect your organization to Podium, you have access to, practically everyone in your organization could potentially use it. You already have your interface, potentially, whether it's your mobile or your desktop that you're using. And it scales extremely, extremely well in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, Courts, I think where Podium is kind of meeting businesses is exactly how consumers, general people are communicating these days, right?
Right.
Just trying to have these businesses understand that these channels are available to them as well, right? Most people rarely are going to communicate via email, or even these days, even make a phone call, right? It's a lot of times it's all being done through text message. I think most people, if you ask them the question of, hey, how many unread text messages do you have on your phone versus how many unread emails do you have on your phone? I think it's going to be a very considerable difference. And I think a lot of businesses this day and age are starting to understand how many channels are available to them to communicate with their customers very easily and very freely through text messaging. And I think that's what you can really.
I think you're right. I mean, even if I want to text with my 75-year-old dad, if I want to communicate with him, many times I'll text with him first. I'll text people to let them know, like, hey, do you have 5 minutes, or can you give me a call? And they know that it prepares them that I want to, take more of their time. And with text, I can truly be multitasking and whatnot. And so I guess it's a very natural thing for businesses now to be able to use this.
Absolutely. Another way to look at it as well is if you have, someone in your business that, it's hard to carry on 2 phone conversations at the same time, but you could easily manage 3 or 4 text conversations at the same time with different customers, right? It just because it's easily managed through our system, and it's just easily monitored through text messaging.
Yeah. Thomas, did you want to add anything else to that about the power of text? And
yeah, I love what you said there, like how you talk with your father, right? Like I think there's a business should think how I try to think as a business operator as well, is let me just market and communicate how I would. Clearly, I have preferences. When a friend calls me, I'd rather, when they send me a text beforehand, that helps me find time, helps me do things. If I'm scheduling with people, I'm using text message. So for the business owner to get in the shoes and say, hey, we've done things a certain way, we run a good business, but we can level this up by just kind of living how you would personally. And the consumer's appreciation for that goes an incredibly long way. And that's seen in the results too. Like all that data we highlighted is simply because it's preferred. It's not, the copy isn't 10 times better. It's just the delivery. And it's underused by businesses. I think that's a huge opportunity to call out is, a fax machine is still a serious thing in a lot of businesses. And so is, the phone tree and waiting and hold music, and that's not pleasant experience for a consumer.
No, it's not. Absolutely not. And I think what's really cool about it is that it can be super intimidating if you don't know where to start and you're a business owner trying to figure out, how do I use text messaging as in my business? And many times what's happening is the employees are actually using their own personal cell phone, and then you're losing track of conversations. Things that you might be liable for as a business are being said on personal cell phones, right? Mm-hmm. But if they're all controlled through a business texting system, then it can be, much more a viable solution. But it's not complicated. Like people get super intimidated with how complicated it could possibly be, like to actually connect every single person in your business to your customers via text messaging. It's not that bad, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the great thing with Podium is, we can give you a singular platform where we can scale with your business wherever your business is at that point in time, right? So
yeah.
Whether it's a single location business or you have thousands of locations, Podium can kind of fit the need for what your business needs, whether the size or not.
Got it. And so again, this is not a sponsored podcast by Podium. I love the tool. It's really, really powerful. We've seen incredible results for our clients, but it is not this. Podium is not sponsoring this. This is something I'm putting together, and I want to talk to these guys because the tool is actually, by far the gold standard in what they're trying to do. And really, Podium didn't get their start with reviews. With text messaging. Wasn't it with reviews?
Yes, early on, Podium, Podium's been in business for about a little over 5 years, Thomas. And in the infancy of our company, we were very much a review tool. Through text messaging, that's what the platform was built on, is to send review invites out via text, which, interesting enough, even 4 years ago, that was kind of a new way to do that, surprisingly. And obviously we've built an extensive platform off of that kind of basis. Tom, anything to add there?
Yeah, right. Google reviews was the objective, which was new in itself. Like most businesses had just started thinking, how can I have a great review presence? And then on top of that, they said, okay, how are we delivering this message? Text seems to be effective for customers. And then when customers were trying to reply, and that was sort of going to nowhere, they realized, the desire of a customer to reply, when they get a text, they think they can text back, right, and just interact with this business. And suddenly it became, managing interactions, managing messaging. And as a business, we were wise enough to zoom out a little bit and say, oh, wow, texting is the real power here. Not even as like the reviews are helpful, but it's a benefit of just communicating the way a customer wants to communicate.
Is there something that's next for texting? Is there like the next text? Like, is there something out there on the horizon?
I'd say that's a great question. I think messaging is a super effective way to communicate, and it's going to be just different channels. So, in Europe, WhatsApp is used way more than any telecom provider for messaging.
Yeah.
There could be a monumental change like that in North America. It would have to take some serious event, but I think messaging is the best platform. I think that's here to stay long term. And it's going to be staying up to date on different platforms. And it might be a certain industry operates in one. Maybe it ends up being, okay, Facebook ads become the go-to way for a HVAC repair and supply company to reach people. And they're not going to use a text message that much. They may just live in Facebook Messenger. That's one way to kind of think of that framework. But I think messaging's here to stay. And then as consumers and operators, stay up to date on what platforms are important and make sure you can use them.
Yeah. When I think about what makes text very relevant is the fact that it's filtered. To some extent, there's laws and regulation around solicitation via text, right? You mentioned earlier that you have to make sure that your clients, you can get in a lot of trouble if you basically spam via text, So it's nice because when my phone dings or vibrates and I've got a new text message on there, I know that there's probably an 80% chance it's something that's going to be relevant to me.
Yeah.
Right. So anyhow, I think it's what I'd like to pivot to is, obviously there's a lot of really powerful things. You mentioned that what you determined is actually the core of that texting functionality. It's not just reviews that Podium was based off of and originally known for, right? So there's a number of things you can do via text. So tell me about payments via text. Like, how does that work? How does a business collect payments via text?
I can start with the high level overview, and Andrew can provide detail. It's really as simple currently as sending a text message in the platform that you can attach what I would call like an invoice. It says the amount. It's going to connect with Apple Pay and Google Pay. And so, someone could see the text message. It'll say, hey, thanks for your time with our business. This is the service we did. This is what you owe. They can either insert a credit card via that link securely. The worst thing someone could do is just text you their entire credit card number. That's not safe. It's not wise to do. Calling and asking someone to read it, same. There's potential for problems there. But a secure, protected link, encrypted, like collecting a payment that way. On the customer, it's as easy. I've received through businesses a link with a Podium text, and I use an iPhone, so I had Apple Pay, and in 2 buttons, and with my Face ID, I had paid the business for the service they gave me.
That's really fast and convenient. And right now, I guess the alternative is to have one of those. I think we've all seen those little swipers. I think they're called Square, that hooks into your phone. And it sounds like you guys are coming up with your own technology to do something like that right now.
Yeah, so the origination of our payment product, something we were dabbling in, but obviously with what happened last year to the entire world with COVID, we kicked it into high gear and kind of met consumers where they wanted to be, right? And that was a touchless experience.
Which was scattered.
Yeah, just no in person, no nothing like that, as we all know. And our developers kicked it into high gear, and we got this product out where it's as simple as sending an invoice through your phone, and you can pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, your credit card, ACH. So just kind of meeting the consumers where they want to be met with this simple product. And we've now evolved that into actual card readers. That the launch went so well of providing this outlet where now if you like to, through Podium, you can kind of power all your business transactions. And there's a lot of different ways that we can kind of close that loop on the ROI that business would see by using multiple different Podium products, as well as obviously the payments product now.
Yeah, that's really, really cool how that's kind of coming along. It does seem like text is a big part of how businesses are going to need to be able to communicate with their customers. I think I saw a metric not too long ago that said that right now, I believe around 20% of businesses are able to have a conversation with their consumers. And I think by the end of next year, consumers are going to expect 75, 80% of the time to be able to have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing, go ahead, Thomas.
Another stat that's just on top of that is I think it was 70% of consumers said they'll want a lot of the pandemic friendly services post pandemic, and that's going to be where they choose to keep doing business. Right? I never had my groceries delivered or walked up and put them in my car before, but I will use that service forever now.
That was kind of nice.
It became so convenient. And I think for a lot of people, they say, hey, hey, I don't want to wait in the restaurant. I don't want to eat. And I like showing up and getting it done. And obviously some other people love to go wait or go through the store, whatever it is. But that optionality now is going to be a reason people choose certain businesses, which I think is an incredible statistic and way to think about how fast things changed and why the customer is always right. That's a great phrase in business, but it's going to feel really true when people are saying, I want to work with these people because I can transact mobile or
it's
whatever.
More convenient. Yeah. Convenience is huge. I want to say, I think Google Chrome became like the preferred browser of choice because it loaded half a second faster than Firefox. You've had millions of people switch browsers because it was just a split second faster. So, I think one of the things that you guys have shared, there's that old saying, I'd rather be lucky than good, right? But it seems like you guys have been lucky and good at a lot of things. Are there any things that you guys have pivoted to or adjusted there at Podium over the last 12 months that you were just like, holy smokes, we just nailed that, or like, man, we didn't expect that result, and therefore have made a quick change to make your product better?
Yeah, I would honestly say it is this payments product, Courts. Again, it was something that was kind of on the roadmap with Podium. And, again, with what happened over the last year, of moving that product kind of to the forefront. I think it was amazing the numbers that we saw from companies that were like, I need this now. I need to be able to transact with people, touchlessly. And I think even the adoption rate and the transactions we've seen kind of push through that product, I think is now it's kind of put a forefront on that payments product to be one of the more important products in our lineup at this point.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, when I think back to, touchless in itself, I mean, what you guys have done is actually enabled all that. I know, and I believe your payments platform is built on top of Stripe, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I can tell you a quick story about myself. So when I was starting Bake More Pies almost 8 years ago now, one of the things that I was working with is one of my customers at a previous job was one of the largest payment processors in the entire world. And, for accepting credit cards. And I was trying to, as a new media buying agency, work towards trying to find a solution to process credit cards, but I wasn't an established business. I was charging things like I was running thousands of dollars at once on a credit card. It's a very normal thing to do when you're a media buying company, right? Yeah. And so that good friend of mine said, hey, dude, like the best I can do for you is 5%. But if you use this new service over here called Stripe, you could probably get 3%. And as long as you're not abusing it, like you'll keep it. And, from what I understand, your rates are even better. So there's a good chance that customers out there and businesses that are trying to accept credit cards, if they work through the Podium platform, will get a better rate than they could ever get, if they try to go direct.
Sure. I mean, the rates alone, just because of the types of volume that we're working with, yeah. But not alone just the payments product, right? Cords, it's kind of the whole all-encompassing, right? There's a lot of other companies you can see out there that kind of do pieces of what we do, and we try to consolidate all those services into one singular platform to make it very easy to use for a business owner and their staff, right? Is instead of going out and finding 2 or 3 different companies to do what one kind of Podium account can do as far as text messaging, reviews, payments, feedback, kind of internal communication. That's kind of that's our pitch is, we can kind of do it all for you in kind of one platform rather than having 2 or 3 different platforms to do that for you.
Yeah. Sure thing. Go ahead, Thomas. Did you want to say something?
I just think similarly, the breakthrough in my mind in the past 12 months alongside payments has been just what Andrew was saying there, that it all is really working together early on Podium to say, hey, you need reviews, we can do this for you. You want to collect chat on your website and make it a text, we can do that. And now it's more, and I think this goes like, this isn't a Podium pitch, but just find an operating system for your business where you can, if you can take payments, communicate with customers, send them marketing initiatives, operate your business in one place. I think the level of satisfaction that we see from people who do that, regardless of platform, it's incredible because suddenly you're going to one place to truly operate your business and say, how is the business looking this week? What kind of payment volume are we doing? How are our customers feeling about the services we're offering? Hey, we need to move the needle. Can we send out a campaign about this thing that we're accomplishing? If that's all happening in one space, you start seeing businesses get really creative, get excited, have visibility, and there's less questions and more results.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Like personally, so like for example, we use HubSpot as our CRM. And I believe you guys have an integration with many CRMs out there in the HVAC space, automotive, and all of that, so that these communications can get tied to customer records and then added along as notes with the customer record, right? Exactly. And so it gives the business owner and the people working with the business a lot of peace of mind that, hey, all that data is there. Like those communications, everything we talked about is all in one place. And so nothing is lost. And it really helps streamline the process of moving forward. I want to pivot now and talk to you guys about, what you specifically do at Podium. I know a lot of what we talk about here on the Law of Relevancy is literally like the operations mechanics of how like different businesses are getting the work done. So specifically, you guys work in the partners division of Podium. So you're working with businesses like mine to try to find out, like, and figure out, like, how do you find more partners? How do you take care of those partners? How do you curate? How do you work with building and choosing those right partners that you guys connect with and really kind of support them?
Thomas, do you want to approach that one, or would you?
I'll start at a high level, because my job, right? I'm trying to get people just like Chords to say, hey, Podium is a great place for me to operate my business and for my clients to do it. And so what we're seeing is agencies in particular, people who are in the operations, like sort of what you said, the people who listen to this, people who are really operating who are operating multiple businesses. If you're an essential component of how car dealers in some region work, or dentists in another, or marketing agents are super impactful to that business. And so we think they're the right people to understand what Podium does, start operating their own business through it, and then quickly translate that value to their client. Overall, we see the best results are the people who use it. Those agencies in particular suddenly know, hey, I'm getting reviews for my agency, and you found me, and we're texting right now because of this.
Yeah.
Suddenly that becomes the easiest conversation they've ever had with someone. And then we want operators like yourself, Chords, and others to be seen as the knowledge expert, the star, the innovator. Andrew and I don't want that credit anymore. Podium operated that way for a long time. Now we want you to go to your client and say, hey, I'm working with the best people to, get you texting your customers efficiently. Like, let's get it started. That's how I view a lot of our partnership ecosystem, is mostly helping operators of agencies become, be the most innovative agency in your town or region or industry by sort of owning the tool, being the owner of Podium.
Yeah, I mean, my role more so is actually working with those partners, which, in my role, a lot of those partners are marketing companies, consulting companies, that are kind of trusted advisors to their clients, right? And are looking for the best solutions to provide for their clients. And, we obviously always want to solve for issues that our partners are facing with their customers, right? And that could be different for different partners and different customers. But, really where we can see ourselves excelling is where if we can layer on solutions that our partners are already trying to help solve for, right? So
right.
For agencies that are doing a lot of local search, GLS, SEO, how can Podium help support those needs with our review product, right? If you're consulting with your customers to help with a payment solution or internal ways of kind of workflow, using our text message products, using our web chats to gain more leads or order form fills, different things like that. Of, what are your objectives with your customers, and how can we see Podium kind of helping solve for those, provide those solutions with your services? That's really where we find our strongest partnerships, is if we can find partners that are looking for a partner like that with us.
Yeah. And I think what you mentioned, both of you kind of mentioned it. I think it starts with a partner who actually understands the tool, like understands the value. It's beyond just software. It's like, how do you generate revenue for your clients by using it? And then you support them, you get behind them 100%.
Absolutely. And obviously, we like to partner with the best, and we like to partner with, partners that are seeing, kind of this vision of this kind of, where technology is going, right?
Right.
Is it moving towards text? How can we help consolidate all that communication and obviously make it very easy for you and your clients?
Perfect. Well, guys, it's been really informative today to have you on the show. Obviously, there's going to be people who listen to this that are going to want to learn more and follow more about you guys, learn more about Podium. Where can they go to see what Podium is up to in the future and what's next?
Yeah, I'd say the best resources are our website has plenty on there, especially podium.com/partners. If you're an operator and working in the agency side, that's a great place to learn. And then our social channels should be updated regularly, easy to follow. There's a lot of people working there to answer questions. So if you have anything come up, you see a phone number, or you just want to put a comment in, put it in, we'll get in touch with you for sure.
Can they text you?
They can text us. Yeah. We prefer text. We prefer getting a text to getting an email. I'll just say that.
That's awesome. Me too. I like that. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us on the show. And for those of you who are watching, please like, follow, subscribe. You can share this podcast with people on anywhere where podcasts are found. And guys, thanks again for joining us. We'll catch you again on the next Law of Relevancy podcast.